Friday. Q&A. Fanmail. Lovely. No hat today. It's too warm for hats. It's been warm lately and I don't like it. News. I will not, in fact, be attending Mall Madness this year, as Mall Madness has been cancelled for this year for a variety of reasons. So hopefully we'll be back next year and I will be attending then. I may reconsider attending RAG, but I'm still currently not planning to. Still reasons. Anyway, let's to some questions. CC7567-X2K. Which do you like better, The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit books or movies? The books. Much more, because I grew up on them. Loved them. I actually have one. I think the first thing that actually got me into them was either the cartoons. There was several Lord of the Rings cartoons have been made over the years by two different companies. And I also remember finding the graphic novel in the library when I was in like 4th grade and absolutely loving it. And I still have a copy of the graphic novel to this day. Fabulous artwork. Mix World. Can we get a review of the Ultramarine movie? Sure, it was good. The animation was about what you would expect for the time period that it came out. If any of you have seen the YouTube series Astartes, it was not that quality. That's how far we've come. But the story was actually very good. Surprisingly, I was pleasantly pleased with how the story played out. It had good story, good plot, good characters. Lots of fabulous and over-the-top gore because it's Warhammer twists and turns and betrayals. I enjoyed it. I would love to see something like that done in the quality of Astartes. So, yeah. The Goathead. I know you enjoy Wizards. Are there any other works of Ralph Bakshi you enjoy? Well, as a matter of fact, Lord of the Rings. Ralph Bakshi did a Lord of the Rings movie at one point using similar rotoscoping. So the main characters were all fully animated, but a lot of the background characters, the orcs and whatnot, were rotoscoped. They were people in costume that had then been drawn over to look vaguely cartoony. I think most of the Rohirrim were also may have been rotoscoped. But they only made the first 1.5 books. They did the Fellowship of the Ring and half of the Two Towers. And they never did finish the other half of the Two Towers and the Return of the King. The Hobbit and the Return of the King were made by completely different studios, completely and utterly different art styles. And I just thought it was odd that they, did the Return of the King. And the Return of the King opens like it's the continuation of the previous book, but there was no previous one for it to have continued from. Great music, though, in the Hobbit and the Return of the King. Some great songs. Sir Galahad. If you had to pick any weapon or piece of equipment from any fictional work to survive a zombie apocalypse, what would it be? Well, I'm not sure which a specific, but maybe an amulet of undead controlling. That seems something that you'd have in a fictional world. Someone in the comments recommended the Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones. That would be pretty handy. A Death Star, a spaceship in general. Cure for the zombieism. I think that would be a useful fictional item to have. But train? Sounds like a commuter. Hard to go wrong with a lightsaber. They're incredibly useful. Good for cutting up zombies. There's that train. Yeah. John Riverstone. There's a number of questions. If you could make any one iconic video game weapon into Nerf, what would it be? Video game. Probably the Halo double-barreled rocket launcher thing. I had plans to make one of those at one point. Never got around to it, but I think that would be pretty cool. Have you ever thought of making a drone into a bomber that drops rival ammo or something relative to that? I mean, I've thought of it. Everyone's thought of it, but I would never do it because that is a really, really gray area legally. There are some various laws in various states, and I don't know what they're... And I haven't looked into it for years. I looked into it a couple of years ago and realized that's a bag of worms I don't want to go any further into. Because weaponizing a drone is very, very dubious legally. And if you can make it drop rival darts or rival rounds or other things, what else could you make it drop? And so it's just not an area I have ever been willing to gamble my liberty with. I'm also looking for a light motorized SMG for HVZ dual wielding. Any recommendations? Dart Zone Venom. Full auto. Pistols. Comes with 2 mags. Comes with the battery. If you get the Scar Barrel, the Dart Zone Scar Barrel, and put it in the barrel, it'll get it down to your HVZ's levels. That's probably going to be the cheapest option, and they work really well. So that's honestly what I would go with. Damien Warfather. If you plan on making another Warhammer Nerf blaster, what would you do? I do, in fact, have plans, but I'm not going to tell you because I'm planning to make it an end-of-the-year build either this year or next year. The blaster itself should not be difficult at all. The hard part is going to be the cosplay. Windle Poons. I've met Windle Poons. He looks exactly like what you think somebody named Windle Poons would look. It was a wonderful moment. Given the recent arms deal, how many hammer shots do you have now? I don't know exactly, but I estimate no less than 90. I don't have a problem. Daniel Gonzalez, OK5XD. Ever plan on coming to Southern California? Probably someday. I mean, Kale may drag me down to Armageddon at some point, and I might finally allow myself to be dragged down there. They've been trying to get me to go to Armageddon for years, but it was never quite my scene for a variety of reasons. I don't know if those reasons are still the case, but someday, probably. EVA Unit 98. How feasible would it be to create a 40k Storm Bolter out of 2 Mega Moto Strikes, and how would one go about making it fire from a single trigger? So it would be very feasible. I mean, you're just bolting them together. The difficult part, of course, is going to be making a central trigger. You're going to have to cut off the grips and patch holes and mount a central grip. And the big problem there is that the Moto Strike is semi-automatic. It has a levered pusher. So you're probably, the easiest way would probably be just to make it solenoid powered. Just put in 2 solenoids and have it be semi-automatic so you pull the trigger and it fires. Or you could put in a car relay and have it, like the bolt pistol that's supposed to be here that's still in a trunk from having been used. Yeah. That would how I would do it, and that would actually not be terribly difficult. Solenoids are easy to wire up. Yeah. Hit that! Hit the stand. Another train. Random idea generator. What is your favorite Monty Python Flying Circus skit? Oh, how to pick just one. The Dead Parrot sketch, always a winner. Argument sketch. Penguin on the TV. That's one I quote a lot. The Fish Slap Dance. So many good ones. So many good ones. I need to rewatch that. I used to have it all on VHS. I need to get a DVD copy. James Souls 3. What dancing forms did you practice, and how did you become interested in them? So I did social dancing. I was on the University of Idaho ballroom dancing team for like a week, and then suffered a ballroom dancing injury. I kid you not. But I did waltz, Viennese waltz, cha-cha, rumba, tango, all the ballroom dances, as well as most forms of swing. East Coast swing, West Coast swing, Balboa, Charleston, all of those. I do have a little bit of country swing somewhere rattling around in my head from high school, but I never much got into that. And I got into it because dancing is fun. And I like dancing. There was a swing dance club in Moscow called the Swing Devils, and I was a card-carrying member of the Swing Devils for many years, and I still enjoy dancing. I just don't get the opportunity to much anymore because I live in the middle of nowhere, and I don't have a partner anymore. Santi37919. Have you ever heard of the music of Astor Piazzolla? Piazzolla? Can't say that I have. I've probably heard it and just didn't know that's whose music it was. Nefump. Why do your mags face different directions on your light vest? So I typically have them because I use 22s, which are curved. I have them curve in because if they curve out, they end up in my armpits and get in the way of my arms. So I have them both curve in. And it isn't as much of an issue as you might think, having them in different directions, because when I draw from this side, it pulls up because it's curved this way, so I flip it up and it just goes in. And if I'm going from this side, I'm kind of curled over more, and it flips over naturally when it comes in. So it isn't as big of an issue as you think, but it's to keep them out of my away from my arms. Chris McClure. Do you like Gregorian chants? I do. I'm particularly fond of Gregorian's take on Boulevard of Broken Dreams. That one makes for a very good Gregorian chant, in my opinion. Marco Sanchez. I am totally blind, man, that wants to play HVZ. How would you devise a strategy for me to play the game? So if at all possible, I would get something obscenely high capacity. You know, a Prometheus with a God Hopper, a proton pack. Something that is very easy to reload and is going to hold a lot of ammo. But really, the key is going to be teammates. You're gonna need someone who's gonna need to be your eyes for you, or you can go with the strategy of was it King John of Bavaria? I'll have to look that one up. 1 second. I was right. King John of Bavaria, who was indeed blind and fought at the Battle of Kretschy while blind. He just had his retainers tie their horse to his, and he charged into battle. He did, as you can imagine, die in the Battle of Kretschy, but that's what you're going to need to do. You're going to have somebody who's your eyes, and you're going to be their heavy support. I would recommend somebody who either has longer range or a more precise weapon, and you just work as a two-man team. He tells you, which direction to fire in based on, your compass heading, so... you're 2 o'clock, open, and you would just hose in that direction, and 10 o'clock, hose, fire in that direction. That's how I would do it. You're gonna... because if you're just on your own, the humans are gonna leave you to die. Humans are like that. You need to have somebody who is dedicated to working with you. And you shouldn't have too much trouble, because that just sounds like an awesome combo, and a story to tell. I was the eyes for a blind man in an HVZ. That's a story I would love to be able to tell. Azure Patty Cake. That is a fabulous handle. What is your greatest hopes and fears for the continuation of Nerf Pro? So we've already seen the new Nerf Pro blasters, the Torrent and the Sender, and while they're not nearly as bad as they could have been, or as a lot of people were afraid, they also weren't as good as we had hoped. And I think that's largely a matter of cost cutting. A lot of people complained about the price of the Strife X, and so they brought the price down to something that they could reasonably put on the shelves at Walmart and Target, but as a result, we're getting what we're paying for. They're no longer running on LiPo, they're not as powerful as they could be because they wanted them to be $50 and $30 to compete with Dart Zone's blasters, obviously. And there's some merit to that. I think if they continue to get, once they get the hang of that niche, they might be able to do it. There's some great things about them. The ergonomics are fabulous. They are incredibly moddable. But but out of the box, they're lackluster. But, you know, didn't matter how good they were out of the box, we were going to modify them, because that's what we do. What I would love to see, what my dream would be, if I could get them to do whatever I wanted, I would have them continue the Pro X line as a, you know, online exclusive thing. So, because the Strife X was simply a fabulous blaster. Out of the box, 150 FPS, rechargeable battery comes with it, Talon Mag compatible, good performance. It was a solid blaster. In my opinion, worth the price, provided you aren't in the hobby. You know, if you already have your own lipo and all of that, it's spendy. But the fact for someone who doesn't have that, anyway, I've talked about that. But what I would love to see is more Pro X blasters. I would love to see a Longshot X. I would love to see a Alpha Trooper X, a Rapid Strike X, a Hammershot X. Reshells of their classic blasters, their best blasters, but with new internals. Get those performance up to the 150 mark. Get the Hammershot, get a Hammer Prime blaster up to the 100 mark. Get a full auto, you know, 150 blaster. And even if they are that same price, that would be acceptable. Also, ideally, they would make it so they can take a standard lipo. It was the one thing they could have done with the Strife that would have made it so much better. It took their proprietary one. They should have made it so it could also take an XD60. They absolutely should have done that with the Sender. They should have made it so it can take AA's, but they should have made it so it could also take a standard 3S lipo. Because I genuinely believe it was supposed to take a 3S lipo, that it was designed to take a 3S lipo, and then somebody said, no, we got to go with AA's, and we ended up with what we ended up with. But if they had made it take a lipo the way the Mark III does, or you just take the battery tray out and there's an XD60 connector for you, that would have been infinitely better, and it wouldn't have raised the cost much, I don't think. You would have had to make the AA tray removable, you would have had to wire in an XD60. I don't think either of those would have, you know, maybe it would have been $55 or even $60. It would have made it much better. But that's what I would like to see. I want to see them continue to make Pro Blasters. I want them to get better. But I would love to see more Pro X. Mark Generoso. Have you thought about making a Proton Pack Terra Scout style tank RC? Also, do you have merch? I used to have merch. I used to have shirts from Out of Darts. They've got almost none left. I used to have patches from Foam Blast, but they closed up shop. And I do not have replacements for either. I was getting some of my own merch so that when I went to events, I could offset the price of going to the events by selling merch. I really need to get merch again. I need to get shirts again. I need to get shirts with catchphrases. I need to get headbands. I need to get stuff. Go ahead and comment what kind of merch you would really like to see. Magnets, stickers, what patches, what would you like? What should I focus on? What would you buy? And back to the first question, the Proton Pack. Kind of. The problem is making one big enough to be able to have... I mean, actually, the standard Proton Pack's not really that big. The ones I make have larger capacity, but the standard one is, you know, only holds 400 rounds. It wouldn't be that difficult to take the Terra Scouts thing off and mount the whole Proton Pack plus a Jupiter on there. And then the trick would be the switches, because I think it only has a single switch to fire, so there's ways around that. But I've thought about it. I have Terra Scouts. I think I've got two. I've got one with no tread and one with. So maybe someday. Rix Rigum. Is the rucksack mag idea working out? I haven't gotten around to it. Had it for years, still haven't gotten around to it. I'd kind of like to retool it for half-dart mags, but I don't have enough half-dart mags. I don't even have enough full-length mags. Well, if I went straight 18s, then I got more than enough. Keep pestering me. Maybe I'll actually get around to it. And finally, definitely Natox. What's your opinion on a God Hopper Prometheus for HVZ? I think it's a fabulous idea. Lots of capacity, especially for that blind guy. Good capacity, good performance. Not too cumbersome. Just don't fall victim to the mistake that the Proton Pack guys tend to, which is that you're invincible and don't watch your back and get taken out by a zombie from behind. You're supposed to be the support. There's supposed to be a line of riflemen in front of you that you hose over the top of or in between. Don't allow yourself to get cut off because your eye can hold them off while you're gonna get taken out. Stay with your squad. Suppressing fire. Good stuff. Yeah. Direct hit! Alright, I have a letter and 2 package. One I'm expecting, one I have no idea what's going on with it. Dubious. I actually have 2 other packages, but I know what they are. They're stuff for review, which I will get to. So we'll get to that. If you would like to have your question answered, or if I didn't get to your question, by all means, ask it again in the comments on this video. That's where I pull the comments from. And let's get to this. But first, you know what? I'm not going to do a word for my sponsor. I don't think it's doing anything. So I'm just going to get to it. We're going to start with the letter. We have a letter here from Caleb Green. And that's the back. To my dearest Captain, I have recently been accepted into the university of my dreams, giving me a chance to further my studies in journalism and media studies. Excellent! Congratulations! By the time my letter arrives at the makerspace, I will have moved up island and will likely still be unpacking when this letter is read. I've had this letter for a while now, so I don't know about that. I wanted to take this time to thank you for your influence on me. Oh dear, I refuse to accept responsibility for anything. Not just as a YouTuber and an internet personality, but as a human being. As I transition into adulthood, I often find myself reflecting on what led me here, from finding you on YouTube to meeting friends in and out of school. You reminded me that growing up doesn't mean you have to discard your child aside. Whereas most people in their mid-20s would still be paying off their student loans, you are assembling the crew and auxiliary, a respected Nerf militia that reigns supreme in the Northwest, even after all these years have passed. You, Kyle, Jose, and everyone who's ever donned the orange and black have a trait that many people don't have. You stayed in touch with your inner children, mostly through trauma, really. I think it's mostly a trauma response. But yeah, growing old is inevitable, but growing out of having fun is not. Just because we aren't kids anymore doesn't mean we can't enjoy the same things. Yeah, what he said. More eloquently, honestly. It's part of the appeal of Nerf and many other brands. Thank you for being my biggest hero for almost 5 years. I wish you all the best in your future events. Bangarang, Caleb Green. Caleb, I'm all verklempt. That is awesome. I wish you only the best in your future, and I hope you manage to also retain your sense of childlike wonder in the world, find things that are fun and continue to enjoy them, because otherwise, what are you doing with life? Alright, take a look at the one that I don't know what's going on. This comes from a James Davey? Dubious. That name sounds familiar. Note! Dear Captain X, I've just finished building a custom blaster to use with a proton pack. It turned out great. I have built a second one and sent it to you since it fits nicely with all of your favorite themes. The core is adapted from the Juno front end and uses standard Juno cage and hardware kit. Neat. The lighting circuit is independent from the blaster and uses a 9-volt, which already installed. The 9-volt and lighting switch are under the barrel. James Davey. Well, that sounds like the most awesome thing ever. What do we got? Good Lord. Aftershock Armory. Wait a minute. Oh, look at that. Look at it. Look at it. That is so cool. It's a flamethrower. That is so cool. Having the hose just go right in the back and just straight on through. There's how that connects. I'll need to get my standard attachment for it. Here's the lighting. It lights up the little pilot flame. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. Oh, the logo. The logo is perfect. That is awesome. Is this like the one from Team Fortress, or is this supposed to be the one from Aliens? I'm not sure, but that's amazing. Oh, I'm gonna have fun doing a video on this. Oh, that is. Oh, 2-stage, very distinct. That is wild. That is so cool. Thank you so much. Oh, that is awesome. I was absolutely, utterly, and completely not expecting that. I am flummoxed. That is amazing. Look. I love the detail of the pilot light. That is such a cool design. All right, we have here a large package from, I believe it's from definitely Natox. A solid member of the auxiliary as well. He has served with me at Jared's epic Nerf battle several times. Alright, what do we got? Oh no! The note! Please read first. Well, of course. Whoop. A pin! He got me a social battery pin! That is awesome. I'm just going to set it at 0 and leave it there for the next couple of years. Dear Captain, in past letters I have told you how much your channel and content has impacted me, so I will simply say that none of my feelings have changed. You are tremendously awesome, and thank you for everything that you've done for me and the rest of the community. Enclosed are a bunch of goodies. I encourage you to keep them all, but I want you to attempt something specific with the Guardian crossbow and the Titan tank. If it works. Send it back, please. I would love to see if you can integrate them. Maybe use a bike pump or something. I think it would be wicked cool painted up. Yeah. Yeah. I've put them in similar blasters, so I don't see why it wouldn't fit. It would just be a matter of how do you mount the pump. Thank you for your content, and may your root beer be ever plentiful. Nathan, definitely Natox. Natox on YouTube. I give to you the Indigo Montoyo patch, and my mom said hi to you at Fan Expo. Yes! They did find me at Fan Expo, which is pretty cool. And he's got a sticker, a definitely Natox sticker, which looks like an old school Mega Dart. He's got better merch than I do. That is amazing. Alright, let's see what we got in here. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. We've got, yep, Titan tank. Can't go wrong with that. And the remains, very tragic remains of a Guardian crossbow. But yeah, that should fit in there fairly perfectly. Maybe have to make some kind of a shell for it to make it fit. We apparently got some worker parts, maybe? Oh yeah! Blue worker kit. The Chris Vector kit. We've got some off-brand Nerf rockets. I came across a whole different design that isn't made to look quite like a Demolisher rocket. I ordered them off Amazon today while I was streaming on someone else's channel. We've got, oh Lord, oh yeah, nice. We've got some Buzzbee. Don't see much of them anymore. I think there's a single shot one is the only one I don't have. If anyone sees a single shot Buzzbee blaster in that style, feel free to grab it and send it my way. Some N-series darts. I have some of them around here somewhere. I do want to do some testing with them. Ooh, good recon stock. Big Shocks. Can't go wrong with Big Shocks. Aha! Every time I pick one of these up, I try to hammer prime it, and it makes me sad all over again. But I have one on an ankle holster that was given to me by 3D Printed Solid. Very cool. Ooh, Dart Zone, Blitzfire, very nice. Such a snappy pistol. Oh, Lord have mercy. They made a double-cylindered version. I did not know that. This one has led a rough life. It's coming apart at the seams. Barrel to go with that. Oh! Why is there a half dart stuck in there? I did not have this one yet. That's much more compact than I was expecting. For some reason I expected it to be a lot bigger. On the banana mag! Does it even work? Does it fit? It does not. Of course not. We have the standard stick mag though. Is this thing missing screws or not? Is it just... It just does it when you put the mag into it. Okay, there we go. That is way more compact than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like the size of an Apollo, but that's much smaller. I dig it. Dice! 100-sided? Is that 100 and... Is that a 50? A 60? A 60-sided dice? What would you need a 60-sided dice for? But 100-sided dice? I did not own a 100-sided dice, believe it or not. Is that a 30? A 30! Wow. 20, 30, 60, 100... I don't know what that one's supposed to be. A 5? A 5-sided dice. This is all the non-standards, isn't it? It's going to be like, that's an 11 or something. Yeah, yep, an 11-sided die. No, that's a 12, but a weird 12. That looks like a 3-sided die. Nope, 4. It's a 4, but again, a weird 4. That is really... What is that monstrositousness? Those are a set of 15 polyhedral die. Those are incredible. They're all wacky shapes and sizes. That is super cool. Banana mag, small mag, mags, barrels, mags. Ooh, I don't see many of these in here. Not sure what that is. Bunch of sock bombs. Ugh! No step on snake! That is a great patch. Pride. Excellent. Excellent. Dart! No! One of the darts, one of the dice got away. Get back in there, you wretch. Fabulous. Whoop! 1 Mega XL. And a shirt that says National Sarcastic Society. That is me. Like we need your support. Rival. Stickers! Stickers! Awesome. That is a fantastic box, sir. You were awesome. You spoil me. I have blasters I didn't have. Ah! This one will end up on K26 now. I have no doubt. No doubt. I need to do another K26 episode. I'm behind. I'm behind on everything. You might have noticed. I got like 1 video out this week. I've got reviews to do. I've got K26 to do. I've got loadouts to do. It's been warm. I don't like it. Anyway. If you would like to mail me something, by all means, feel free. I do not expect it, and I always appreciate it. Mailing address is in the video description. And as always, thank you for watching.